Ivan Cantu was executed in Texas on Wednesday, January 31, 2024. The state carried out the death sentence despite significant and mounting doubts surrounding his conviction. He was executed for the 2000 murders of his cousin, James Mosqueda, and Mosqueda's fiancée, Amy Kitchen. The execution proceeded after numerous last-minute legal challenges failed. Cantu received a lethal injection of the sedative pentobarbital. He was pronounced dead at 6:47 p.m. Central Time. The process took 21 minutes from the time the injection began. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The brutal murders occurred in November 2000 in Dallas, Texas. The victims were James Mosqueda, a 27-year-old who dealt illegal drugs, and Amy Kitchen, a 22-year-old nursing student and Mosqueda's fiancé. Ivan Cantu was arrested and subsequently convicted for these crimes in 2001. A jury sentenced Cantu to death in that same year. The prosecution's theory of the case centered on Cantu killing the couple during an attempt to steal drugs and cash from Mosqueda. Cantu, however, maintained his innocence, claiming a rival drug dealer killed Mosqueda in a dispute over money. Key evidence presented by the prosecution at trial included bloody clothing found in a trash can outside Cantu's apartment. Stolen jewelry, specifically a Rolex watch and an engagement ring, was also presented as evidence linking Cantu to the crime. Crucially, the prosecution relied heavily on the testimony of two witnesses, Cantu's fiancée at the time, Amy Betcher, and her brother, Jeff Betcher. The jury foreman, Jeff Calhoun, later stated that the testimony provided by Amy and Jeff Betcher was the most compelling evidence presented by the state, leading the jury to believe Cantu was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Their accounts formed the backbone of the prosecution's narrative. In the years following Cantu's conviction, a public campaign emerged, highlighting serious doubts about the evidence used against him. This campaign gained momentum as new information came to light. Cantu's defense team, led by attorney Gina Bunn and investigator Matt Duff, argued that this new evidence fundamentally undermined the prosecution's original case. A pivotal development occurred when key witness Jeff Betcher recanted significant parts of his trial testimony. This recantation happened after his sister, Amy Betcher, passed away in 2021. Jeff Betcher admitted that he had lied under oath during the trial, stating he did so to protect his sister. He also acknowledged that his testimony at the time was unreliable due to his frequent drug use. Evidence also emerged that directly contradicted Amy Betcher's trial testimony. She had testified that Cantu threw a Rolex watch, presumably stolen from Mosqueda, out of a car window. However, it was learned in 2019 that a Rolex watch was recovered from Mosqueda's home shortly after the murder and returned to his family. Amy Betcher also testified that Cantu gave her an engagement ring stolen from Amy Kitchen. Furthermore, she claimed she disposed of bloody jeans in the kitchen trash can at Cantu's apartment. Yet a police officer's affidavit from 2020 stated that she did not believe the bloody jeans were present in the apartment when she checked on Cantu shortly after the murders. Adding to the doubts about the bloody jeans, tests did not find conclusive evidence of Cantu's DNA on the garment. Moreover, the jeans were reportedly too large for Cantu, raising questions about whether he could have worn them. Cantu's legal team argued that the prosecution had withheld crucial evidence and relied on testimony that was demonstrably false or unreliable. New witness statements surfaced that supported Cantu's long-standing claim about a drug supplier threatening Mosqueda shortly before the killings. This aligned with Cantu's defense that a rival dealer, not he, was responsible for the murders. Much of this new evidence was uncovered by private investigator Matt Duff through an independent investigation, which was chronicled in the podcast Cousins by Blood. Despite the growing concerns and the presentation of new evidence, Texas courts consistently declined to halt Ivan Cantu's execution. The legal system appeared resistant to revisiting the case's merits. The Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles unanimously denied clemency in a 7-0 vote, effectively clearing the path for the execution. state and federal courts rejected numerous appeals filed by Cantu's defense team. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals dismissed a key petition on procedural grounds, stating it was an abuse of the writ, without conducting a review of the substantive new evidence presented. The Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals also weighed in, deeming the new evidence not credible. The federal court stated that even if considered, the new evidence did not undermine the critical incriminating evidence presented at the original trial. Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis maintained his office's position that Cantu was guilty. He stated that his conviction was based on the evidence presented during the 2001 trial, which he believed was sufficient to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The legal system, at every level, ultimately upheld the original conviction and sentence. The case of Ivan Cantu garnered significant public attention in the months leading up to his execution. A public campaign urging reconsideration of his case gained widespread support. This campaign included endorsements from faith leaders, numerous celebrities such as Kim Kardashian, Martin Sheen, and Jane Fonda, and notably 3 jurors from the original 2001 trial. Over 150,000 signatures were collected on a petition demanding that the Collin County District Attorney withdraw the execution date. The involvement of original jurors was particularly impactful. These jurors who requested a delay stated that they had developed doubts about the case based on the new information that had emerged, specifically citing Jeff Betcher's admission that he lied under oath. Ivan Cantu maintained his innocence steadfastly until his final moments. In his final statement, delivered just before the lethal injection, Cantu expressed his belief that his execution would not bring true closure to the families of James Mosqueda and Amy Kitchen. He used his last words to thank his legal team and the many supporters who had advocated for him. Sister Helen Prejean, a renowned anti-death penalty advocate and Cantu's spiritual advisor, was present at the execution. She stated unequivocally that mistakes were made at Cantu's trial and continued her advocacy against the death penalty, particularly in cases where doubts persist. The execution of Ivan Cantu has reignited intense debate about the integrity of the justice system in Texas and the profound risk of executing a person who may be innocent. Texas conservatives concerned about the death penalty issued a statement following the execution. They argued that the state had turned a blind eye to the mounting evidence casting doubt on Cantu's guilt. The organization called the execution of a potentially innocent person a miscarriage of justice, highlighting the irreversible nature of the death penalty when questions of guilt remain unresolved.